So basically, what I want to do is go over a video that is asking the question, what is sex like for trans women? And as one of those, I feel I want to share my thoughts. I haven't watched this video before. I don't pre-watch. I'm a good streamer. But I will likely get I won't be able to monetize this video. Oh no. Let's watch.
When I was pre-op, oh, the orgasms were good, but honey, when I got that vagina,
I'm glad to hear that gender euphoria hit hard for them. Not going to assume. I want to say she, her, though.
how do you have sex? Are you able to have penetrative sex? I am
As you can have penetrative sex as a pre-op, too.
a post-op trans woman, so that means that I have undergone vaginoplasty, which is a form of reconstructive surgery, and that allows me to be able to have vaginal intercourse.
It's actually really weird, like having sex with a vagina, obviously, because I went 22 years of my life without one. Every single time I'm like, oh my God, what if it hurts? Or like, what if it breaks? Or what if I like have to get another surgery or something?
Personally, I am pre-op, so I haven't had a vaginoplasty and I don't plan on getting one probably until I decide to have children. Just because
Girl, go for it. You don't even need to get that surgery if you don't really want to. Honestly, anybody that's considering, is that surgery actually right for me? If you have any doubts at all about it, don't get it. It's as simple as. Simple as. And yeah, vaginoplasty, I actually know the details of, but I'm not getting it at all. I don't care. I like what I got. But yes, you can have regular old fun times. The only difference is you're going to need lube. Honestly.
I don't really have like gender dysphoria as much like down there, it doesn't really bother me as much. I do the penetrating, I guess.
I like her.
What is your sexual orientation? If you have a partner now, how do they identify? I'm straight. I am married to a heterosexual cis male.
I would say straight because I am attracted to men, and the men that are attracted to me also, they would consider them straight because they see a female in me.
A lot of men are scared to date trans women because they're
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't get flirted with or hit on by exclusively gay men. Like, by exclusively gay men, I mean men that are only attracted to dudes don't flirt with me. It's the straight dudes that do. And there is the stigma of, oh, you're going to see we're gay. I wonder how she's going to counter it.
they're scared of being gay in the eyes of other men. I don't have muscles, I don't have hairy legs, I have nothing that would attract a gay man to me, you know? So I don't consider my partner gay.
As it stands now, I would.
Yeah, I can 100% relate to that. It's a lot more about social cues for me. Because there are a lot of guys that, a lot of straight guys that would femboys. Just throwing that one out there.
Identify as pan or bi, so I'm still married to my cisgender wife. We were married before my transition. The vagina is still something that I am exploring and open to. It isn't my number one preference, but I recognize that my wife's number one preference wasn't, at the time, having a wife.
At what point do you disclose to your potential partners that you're trans? It's such a touchy.
I do that up front. If they don't know I'm trans right away, or if, as long as they know I'm trans and they're willing to still hang out in public, I'm cool with them. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I don't try to really hide it from people. I am very upfront about it when talking about play friends.
Subject because a lot of girls disagree with me, but I believe that your first conversation, point blank.
I wouldn't
Preach,
want to
sister.
talk to somebody, like have feelings for them, and then they find out that I'm trans and they're not into it, which is totally fine because, you know, it's not everyone's cup of tea and you can't be mad at somebody because they're not into you. But I definitely think that before you do anything sexual with somebody, you need to disclose that you're trans. That is like a #1 thing.
So
Yeah, I can agree with that, where you don't necessarily have to be upfront, like first interaction, hey, I'm trans, but you definitely want to have that conversation before you're jumping into bed together.
before my surgery, I think it was a little more important. I would literally be with a guy and just like get caught up in the moment and think he's like so perfect, so amazing. And then I was like, wait, like I have to tell you something. And now having a vagina, I've like fully had sex with people and like just not even told them. They just like don't know. When guys get upset when they find out you're trans, it's honestly based off their own insecurities of like, oh, I find so-and-so attractive. Oh, she used to be a boy. Oh my God. If you're attracted to me.
Yeah, like with her case, I don't think she actually really needs to disclose, hey, I used to present as masculine for 22 years, or I used to have whatever, because like it literally doesn't matter unless you're talking about reproduction, which is not a regular conversation, especially for people you're just friends with. And for the record, I bang my friends.
If you literally just had sex with me, it doesn't matter. Like who I was born as, like I'm not that person anymore.
Have you ever feared for your safety while pursuing a hookup?
Yep, every time. Well, not every time, but like, you don't exactly feel safe going to a bus exchange at like 11 p.m. to go rail some dude.
I was hooking up with a lot of people without telling them I was trans. I had an instance one time where I was hooking up with a guy, and one of my friends at the time, who I thought was my best friend, told him after I hooked up with him, and he lived in the same apartment building as me, and it was not good. Him and his like friends starting to beat my ass. I literally had to move out of my apartment because I was scared, like literally for my life.
Well, I do sleep with like a bat.
Like, Jesus Christ, yeah, some people will fucking react to that because of their bigoted insecurities. That's why you do need to have that conversation before you jump into bed with each other.
And a knife for sure. Like I've thought to myself, like, shit, do I have to grab my knife? I have been in bars where I've had guns put up to my head here in California.
Honestly, a couple months ago, I was with this guy and it was just going really good. Didn't expect to like hook up with him or anything. But then one thing led to another. Obviously, didn't tell him I was trans because I didn't expect to hook up with him. He was like, oh, was like Lila your birth name? And like started like asking very like weird questions. And he was like, oh, your vagina like looks new. I didn't know where it was gonna go. I was like, what if he like drugs me or smothers me or literally tells me? That happens all the time. You have to be so careful. And so I was like, oh, this is a really unsafe situation. Like I have to go.
Our orgasm.
They haven't actually had the conversation, and they're bringing up your vagina looks new. Okay, that's something to say. I am glad you're free, Zip. Glad to hear it. And hey, Simple Galaxy.
Better after your transition. When you're more comfortable with your body, yes, orgasms are better.
Yep, that's all you really need to say. If you're not liking the body you're in, not really going to be enjoying your orgasms. But once you accept who you are, it gets a lot more fun. 40 minutes of goddamn overtime? Fuck. Oh my god. If my foreman tried to pull that shit with me, I would leave. I would go home. Because it was their fault they didn't take their lunch. At least you got overtime for it.
When I was pre-op, the orgasms were good, but honey, when I got that vagina, it feels so nice to just be able to just let her just flow. Just let it flow.
I think now that I'm on like hormone pills, my libido went from here to like here.
When you're on hormones for so
That
long,
happens to a lot of us, yeah. Where the libido will drop a lot. You will actually experience erectile dysfunction in most cases. Honestly, if the saying for your dick is true, use it or lose it. I have been on hormone therapy for a few years now, and I've used it pretty regularly. I've used my fun. It's still working. But that's not the case for everybody. I just have a really high drive, even though it's still being suppressed by hormones.
it does a lot to your reproductive organs, so you don't
It actually
produce
does.
sperm, and your sex drive goes down a lot. I almost went like a year without having sex just because I really was like not feeling well about myself, because I was still in kind of like that beginning phase where I felt like I really wasn't a full woman yet.
Oh, that first phase hurts, where you're really trying to pursue your transition and the ball's rolling, but it's so slow. Oh, that's a
My
bad still
sex life
frame
with my
for it.
partner has improved since my transition. It can be magical and epically more romantic and epically more, because I'm so much more
Like
engaged.
her
I was
hair.
never able to be
So cute.
fully engaged with almost anything across the spectrum of life, not just sex, before I came out.
Oh god, I feel that too, girl.
How often do you encounter people who fetishize you?
As a lewd tuber every fucking day. Are you serious? Okay, that's a good still frame of her. She did really well with her makeup tech. Actually like that. But how often do people fetishize
How
you?
often do you encounter people who fetishize you?
Online, every fucking day. Offline, most days. Whenever I go out femme presenting, there's usually at least one person that's considering me a sex worker, but not the kind of sex worker I am. I'm a porn star, not a prostitute. I respect all kinds of sex workers, but I can't do the street working. I'm too much of a coward.
Very often they go instantly into like, oh, like, do you like the top? You know, can I give you oral?
There's always random people who will Instagram DM you, Twitter DM you.
Been so many
Yep.
people who were like, oh my god, do you have a dick, or like blah 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 blah, and think it was like so hot and stuff like that. And it's like, baby, I'm not a fetish. And like that's what so many people like think, or they're like, oh, I'm not into that. And it's like, into what? You're not into girls? Like that's like, not something to be into. It's just like, are you attracted to me or not?
When you have
Yeah, like, if you're not into dick, say it. I don't care. I have actually flirted with people and then made the jokes of like, I can give you experience working a shaft, because they've never had that experience. And then they were like, can you speak a little more clearly? I'm pretty drunk. And then I said, I have a dick. And they said, that's not my cup of tea. And I said, I respect that. Have a good day. Not that hard. The problem comes when people are only fixated on the sex with you. I love to flirt with people, but holy shit, there are people who only DM me about sex.
sex, do you ever struggle with feelings of dysphoria?
Oh my god, what trans woman doesn't? what trans woman that deals with dysphoria doesn't deal with it during sex? Honestly, most of the time it's like exemplified during sex because you're so focused on the thing where, you know, you're showing off your body to another person or more people. But that it kind of reifies dysphoria to an extent because suddenly you're in that situation where people are seeing you.
Yes, I do. My voice and my face for making out, and sometimes my stubble. You know, I haven't had laser hair removal. There's certain surgeries, facial feminization, and things like that that I still haven't had. I don't feel dysphoric about my genitalia. A lot of trans people do. I don't. I like that part of my body.
I know
Preach.
a lot of trans women are very like against their parts, and you know, because mentally they're women, right? Well, this is me, trans woman. You know, I'm not mentally a woman. I don't want ovaries. I don't want a vagina. You know, so I like using my penis to have sex for sure.
It's so important.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes as a
I like what I got down there. I don't like the chest I got, and that could be better. But overall, yeah, I kind of like what I got.
trans woman to feel that we need to be the prettiest, we need to be the thinnest, we need to be the curviest, just so we can even feel less dysphoric.
Oh my god, those societal pressures are so fucking strong and overwhelming, and they're reinforced in like small ways that people just never really think about. It's an indirect, offhand, casual remark most of the time. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but holy shit, it does get overwhelming at times.
Early on, I remember she even asked if it was possible for me to sometimes, you know, role play like the role of a guy, even just for like almost like dress up. I think she was just coming to terms with the loss of that. I was just very honest and said no, because I'll be in tears by the end of that.
Was sex talked about?
Which makes sense, yeah, you don't really want to roleplay.
No. There was no sex talked about in my home.
I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, so very deep Bible Belt South.
For me, the sex talk was, don't finish inside. Wear a condom. Women are not objects, that kind of thing. And then one class of sex ed that didn't even really touch on consent, which should have been touched on. At least basically described.
So sex was not talked about.
Oh god, she was in the
at
Bible
all.
Belt.
And
Glad she's okay.
I actually had sex at 13.
Asian people.
Hey,
they have,
13,
like, this,
respect.
like,
Me too.
Strict rule and like.
With another
also
13-year-old, by the
that,
way.
They want their sons to grow up as. So if they're growing up trans, like it's kind of a big no-no. I told myself, and I made a promise to myself, that I won't transition medically until my mom like fully accepts me. Yeah, she disowned me for like 5 years. I just wanted that path for me.
Jesus
I know that
Christ.
A lot of trans girls would be like, Zyla, you need to take hormones right away or else you're gonna turn into an old man. But for me, I wanted to do it my way. I mean, now we're like best friends and like she buys me underwear and like bras and stuff, so.
Oh my
I'm
god,
transphobic,
that's
so
so
I won't
sweet.
wait for sex until my partner gets further into her transition.
Oh, ooh,
That is such a tricky one. Is it transphobic to wait till you're further along transition? I'm gonna go with no. If you're wanting to wait till they're further in their transition, I actually have respected that. Where I like to enjoy sex. I like when my partner is enjoying it. And early on in transitions, even before I knew I was trans, I knew it would be very hard for people to really get into that mindset of feeling like themselves, especially if they're so early in their transition. I think it would be very, I guess, transpositive to engage with those activities earlier in the transition, but I wouldn't call it transphobic to wait until they're further into their transition.
That's a tricky one.
There's no issue with wanting to wait, and you need to definitely communicate that, because it really sucks for someone to have to wait and expect something and it never comes. And then for also them
God, I know
to
that.
feel that
Waiting for
you
someday.
really don't desire them at all.
No, I don't think that's transphobic. I think honestly, certain things, especially sexually with pre-op trans women, is I guess just your like own opinion and your own preference. I guess like certain things make you uncomfortable. That's one thing. But if you genuinely like, don't want to have sex with them, then it's like, why are you together? Why are you talking? Like,
It's like it's a conditional kind of love. It's like you don't view them as female or male until they're completely transitioned, which is not fair. If you can't love me at this point, you can't love me at this point, you know?
I can respect that mindset, but I can also understand how there are hurdles for people that, like, let's say a trans woman is dating or starts dating a straight man, but the straight man wants to wait a little bit to engage in intercourse with the trans woman. What if you feel that way about yourself, though? 'Cause that's pretty much... 'cause that's me, pretty much. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's kind of how dysphoria is. I'm glad you're home, Zip. But if you want to wait to engage in intercourse until you're further in your transition, that is totally fine. It is also fine to want to wait for your partner to go through with their transition. Like I don't feel good enough until I get farther, I guess. That honestly is a pretty prevalent mindset in the trans community, where a lot of people only really see the passing, the quote-unquote successful transitions. Those are the ones that get the most attention, and a lot of... I fucking hate the term passing, but a lot of non-passing trans people get brushed to the side because of that, and it kind of feeds into like this: I'm not good enough unless I'm thin enough, unless I'm curvy enough, unless I'm pretty enough. And that's not the way it really is. In reality, it's how well you actually carry yourself and how you present yourself. At least that's how it's worked for me. Even early on in my transition, I still... oh fuck, I still struggle with this shit, and I'm 4 years into my medical transition. I keep telling myself I'm waiting for titty surgery, and then I'll be ready for it. And then I'll be happy with where I am in my transition. But it's a part of me that knows no one thing will ever be good enough for me to really feel like me. I need to accept that. I need to understand that I am good enough. And you are too, Kizu. Doesn't matter how far along in you are of your transition. It doesn't matter if you're going to transition for only 6 months and then you decide you want to go back to how you used to present. That is irrelevant. What is relevant is how you feel now and how you want to be treated. I don't care how masculine somebody is. If they tell me they want to be referred to as she, her, those are the pronouns I'm using for them. Their presentation is irrelevant. I care more about how they view themselves and how they want the world to view them. That's where I'm coming from anyways.
Has sex ever made you regret your transition?
Oh, that's a good one. No. It's actually only ever been better since I transitioned, honestly.
I would say no. I don't think sex really has anything to do with my transition because I guess for me, like, I could go the rest of my life without having sex.
Not
Oh, Stan. Like, if you can go the rest of your life without having sex, preach. Like, go for it. But for me, I enjoy it. And to clarify, I enjoy it more post-transition because I'm comfortable in my body. And I'm actually able to really enjoy the situations I'm in.
regret. I would never ever regret anything. But right after I got my surgery and like got my first boyfriend, I was like, oh my God, why is this so much work? Like, cause you have to dilate and like clean yours, like clean and like all this stuff. Once you go that far, there's nothing really you can't handle. So it's just all about patience at that point and like letting everything heal and your day will come.
And
Yeah, oh my God. For those of you that don't know the details of vaginoplasty, there is a point post-surgery in, like, right away, pretty much, you have to dilate it. You have to use objects to expand it so that it doesn't contract too much and then heal closed, which would be a problem. And if you neglect that too much, penetration becomes painful. I will say that. It is something that you need to keep up with if you care about penetration. That's really the kicker.
I'm at a point in my transition where, like, sex doesn't give me any validation anymore. I think when I was younger, that was definitely an issue, and I thought I needed to be having so much sex to have people really think, you know, that I was the most perfect and beautiful woman.
What's one?
Oh, that's common for women to be told that in general, and it's just so fun that we also get pushed into that too. Like, women in general have that societal pressure placed on them, and since trans women are women, we also got to deal with it. Haha.
One thing you wish you could debunk about being a trans woman. This
One thing I wish I could debunk about being trans woman. I don't know, that people think that you need to have all the surgeries and all the medical stuff to really be considered a woman. I don't subscribe to that at all. I don't think it honestly does matter what... Oh, there's my mouse. Fuck. I don't think it does matter what body parts you have, what chromosomes, your skin tones, your textures, any of that shit. None of that matters to how people should be referred to. It should only be how they want to be referred to. Anything other than that is pushing things onto others. Just let them live their lives. Let them be as masculine or as feminine as they want. Let them use the names they want. What's the harm? The answer is there is no harm. People just hate us. I wish we could debunk people thinking we were trying to turn everyone trans or gay. Yeah, I wish so too, but that's kind of conspiracy brain thinking that there's a secret cabal trying to trans gay people. It's honestly just the same as fucking far-right talking points about Jewish people. They're just... We're out to get everyone, apparently. Oh yeah, we put the chemicals in the water. Don't you know? But yeah, the thinking of secret cabal trying to control the mainstream scientific institutes, the mainstream medias, all that fun stuff. Yeah, that's basically the same stuff that the Nazis were doing in Germany, or Weimar Germany, before they took over. And by Nazi, I mean those not nice people that don't like people of Hebrew descent. If you look at the rhetoric from the right wing of American politicians these days, you just substitute trans for Jew and it's the same. Just saying, vote left.
This whole like pervert thing and like you know, us trans women using the restroom, it's like, honey, all we do there is wash our hands or pee or poop and then we're gone. I am not there to look and stare at your anything.
One of the things
Yeah, we're not in the bathroom to look at people's fun bits. We have Google. What the fuck? We just want to pee and get out of there. Nobody want... Honestly, I don't know any trans person personally that is okay with going into a public bathroom because of that mindset that people think trans people are only there to be predators. Like, literally, I don't use public bathrooms. I hold it for hours on end if I don't know where a single person bathroom is.
that I wish that we can debunk is that we often don't get tested. We often don't want to know our HIV status. People think that, you know, we're just walking around, you know, just like in walking STD. We're not.
We just
I got a standing order for STDs. Or blood tests to check for STDs. I am clean, by the way.
want to be normal. We want to live a life. We want happiness. We want boyfriends. We want husbands. We want to not be killed. We don't want to be threatened. We don't want to be somebody's secret. We don't want to be your side chick. Every
Love
night I
her
get
eyebrows.
texts from midnight to 5 in the morning, and it's so annoying because those are hoe hours, and I'm not nobody's hoe. I'm special. I'm unique.
Sister.
I wish that I learned being trans isn't a sexuality, it's an identity. Like, I thought, because of my own experience, I thought, okay, all trans women who transition from male to female, they like men. But that's clearly not the case. Like, you can be a trans woman and love women. You can love both, or you can love men.
Yes, there is that. I do wish that transgenderism was taught as a gender and or a lens of analysis for gender instead of for sexuality, because those are different things.
Wish that I would have learned that sex doesn't equal love.
Oh, that's true.
I wish I would have.
Yeah, sex does not equal love. There is multiple kinds of love, and a lot of people think of romantic love as love, but there is more than just romantic love. There is platonic love. There is sexual love, most people call lust, and familial love. There's more than I can think of. It's obviously I can only think of 3. Well, I'm Arrow, so what do I know?
Would have realized that just because I was 13 and I thought that I loved him and we had sex, so that meant that he loved me too.
Yeah,
that's
emotional connectivity
a rough one.
that comes from having sex with someone. After I've had sex with someone, it has never been the same when I'm in the room with them. When their name is brought up, there's a connection there that, for better or worse, those are.
Is this just an Arrow thing? Because I don't have that issue. I've slept with like 80% of my friends, and I personally haven't felt like our dynamic has really changed after hooking up. Honestly, we had fun. We might have fun again. We might not. It doesn't really affect that I consider them a friend, that I care about them, that I want to spend time with them platonically, playing video games, hanging out, watching YouTube, whatever.
pieces of me that I wish I had guarded a little more in a lot of circumstances.
Everyone should explore their own bodies and find out what is best for them. You
True.
know, it shouldn't be about making other people happy or fulfilling a societal standard. Sex is fun, and it should be about that.
Very, very true. I don't know if I could have said it better myself. Thank you, Jubilee. That was a fun little video. And it's good to know we all think alike. I think for some, sex is like the okay for singular ownership, and that's what gets taught. I'm getting a phone call. Hello? I'm sorry. I don't speak Mandarin. Can you talk in English, please? No, you're a bot? Oh, that's what I thought. Why am I getting calls in Mandarin?